Hello everyone. In this lesson, we are going to solve some problems in finding the standard equation of an ellipse given some conditions. So here, I prepared 4 sample problems. So ang gagawin natin dito is to find the standard equation ng ellipse that satisfies the given conditions in each item. Pero bago yan, I want you to try muna answering these problems on your own. So pwede nating i-pause itong video muna. And once you are done answering, you can continue watching and check if you answered the problems correctly. Okay? So let's solve problem number 1. So we have here the foci are -2110 and 310. And the sum of the distances of any point from the foci is 30. Now take note, para malaman natin yung standard equation ng ellipse, we need to identify first its orientation. Kasi yung standard equation, nakadepende yan sa orientation ng ellipse. And one way to do that one is to plot the given points, itong foci dito, on the Cartesian plane. In that way, we can picture out the orientation of our ellipse. Okay? So suppose this is our Cartesian plane. Now, since F1 has the coordinates -2110, so it is somewhere here, right? So we have F sub 1 with coordinates -2110. And since F sub 2 has the coordinates 310, so it is somewhere here. Okay? So we have F sub 2, that is 310. Okay? So dito makikita natin na yung foci are horizontally aligned. Now take note, if yung foci or yung vertices ay horizontally aligned, yung ellipse natin ay horizontal din. Okay? If vertically aligned naman sila, vertical rin yung ellipse natin. Now, since dito horizontal siya, so we can now say that the orientation of this ellipse is horizontal. Okay? So we have the orientation. And since it is horizontal, our form of the equation is x minus h quantity square all over a square plus y minus k quantity square all over b square equal to 1. Okay? So we need the values of h, k, a, and b. And what is hk? That is just the coordinates of the center. And take note that the center is just the point midway the foci, the vertices, or the co-vertices. And since we have the foci here, we can now solve for the center by getting the midpoint of these 2 points here. So the center now is just equal to, okay, x sub 1 plus x sub 2. Suppose this is x sub 1, this is x sub 2, this is y sub 1, this is y sub 2. Therefore, we have x sub 1 plus x sub 2, that is -21 plus 3 all over 2. And y sub 1 plus y sub 2, that is 10 plus 10 all over 2. And this is equal to -9, 10. So we have now the center, -9, 10. So our h is -9, our k is 10. Okay? Now, to solve for a, we have here the condition. The sum of the distances of any point from the foci is 30. Take note from the properties. The sum of the distances of any point from the foci is just equal to 2a, right? So therefore, we have now the value of 2a, and that is 30. So we have here 2a equal to 30. This means that a is equal to 15. So we now have our a. So what's left is the value of b. B is just the distance from the center to one of the co-vertices. And since the co-vertices dito ay hindi ibinigay, so we cannot use that concept. But take note, from our property, p square is just equal to a square minus c square. So we can still solve for the value of b by finding the value of a and the value of c. And c is just the distance from the center to one of the foci. So therefore, since meron tayong foci dito, meron rin tayong center, we can solve for the value of c using the distance formula, right? And c is just equal to, suppose I'm going to use f sub 2 na lang. Okay? So therefore, this is still my x sub 1, uh, x sub 2, y sub 2, and this will be my x sub 1, y sub 1, so that I can use the distance formula. So that will be the square root of, okay, x sub 2 is 3 minus x sub 1 is negative 9, quantity raised to 2 plus, we have y sub 2 is 10 minus y sub 1 is also 10, quantity raised to 2. So from here, 10 minus 10 is 0, and 3 minus negative 9, that will become 3 plus 9, and that is 12, right? And 12 square is just 144. So we have square root of 144, and that is equal to 12. So we now have the value of c, so we can now solve for b square, and that is equal to a square, that is 15 square, minus c square, that is 12 square. So that is equal to 15 square is 225, minus 12 square, 144. And this is equal to 81. So we now have the value of b squared. So therefore, we can now give the standard equation. So the standard equation is just equal to x minus h is negative 9, quantity raised to 2 all over a square is 15 square, that is 225, plus y minus k is 10, quantity raised to 2 all over b square is 81, equal to 1. Or simply, this is just x plus 9, quantity raised to 2 all over 225, plus y minus 10, quantity raised to 2 all over 81, equal to 1. And this is our final answer. Okay, so we have now the standard equation of this ellipse. Okay, for problem number 2, we have the center negative 3, negative 7, a vertical major axis of length 28, and a minor axis of length 16. So we have the center negative 3, negative 7. Therefore, our h is negative 3. Our k is negative 7. And since our major axis is vertical, okay, thus we can say that the orientation of this ellipse is vertical. Okay? Okay, since vertical ang ellipse natin, ang form naman ng standard equation will be x minus h, quantity raised to 2 all over b square, plus y minus k, quantity raised to 2 all over a square, equal to 1. Right? Now, from the given condition, the length of the major axis is 28. Take note that the length of the major axis is just 2a, right? So we can equate 2a to 28. So this means that a is equal to 14. Okay? We also have here from the condition, the length of the minor axis is 16. Take note that the length of the minor axis is just 2b. So we can equate 2b to 16, which means that b is equal to 8. So from that, we can now give the standard equation kasi meron na tayong h, k, a, and b. So our standard equation will be x minus h. So our h is negative 3. So x minus negative 3, that will be x plus 3. Quantity raised to 2 all over b square. B square, so 8 square is 64 plus y minus k, y minus negative 7, so that will be y plus 7, quantity raised to 2 all over a square, 14 square is 196, equal to 1. This will be our final answer. Okay, so that's it for number 2. For problem number 3, we have here the co-vertices are negative 4, 8 and 10, 8. And one focus at 312. Okay, so para malaman natin yung orientation ng ellipse na to, we will first plot the points on the Cartesian plane. So suppose this is our Cartesian plane. Since the co-vertices are negative 4, 8, and 10, 8, so it is somewhere here. Negative 4, 8 is here. So this could be our W sub 1. That is negative 4, 8. And 10, 8 is somewhere here. So this is our W sub 2, 10, 8. Okay. And one focus at 312. So this is our focus. Okay. So focus is 312. Okay. So from that, since our co-vertices are horizontally aligned, take note that the orientation ng ellipse opposite siya sa co-vertices. So if the co-vertices are horizontally aligned, the ellipse is vertical. If vertically aligned naman yung mga co-vertices natin, horizontal naman yung ellipse. So in this case, we have our orientation that is vertical. Kasi again, yung co-vertices natin ay horizontally aligned. So since it is vertical, the form of our equation will be x minus h quantity square all over b square plus y minus k quantity square all over a square equal to 1. Okay? So we need the values of h, k, a, and b. So here, we need to solve for the center, coordinates of the center, since the co-vertices are given. So therefore, we can get the center by taking the midpoint of these two co-vertices, right? So the center now is just equal to, suppose this is our x sub 1, y sub 1, this is x sub 2, y sub 2. So we have our center, negative 4 plus 10 all over 2, and 8 plus 8 all over 2. And this is just equal to 3, 8. Okay, so we have now our h and k. Okay, now we need the values of a and b. In this case, we cannot get the value of a pa. So we will first find the value of b, that is the distance from the center to one of the co-vertices. So suppose I will just take this 10, 8 here. So this is x sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, and this is x sub 1, y sub 1. So b is just equal to, using distance formula, that is the square root of. So we have x sub 2, 10 minus 3, quantity raised to 2, plus 8 minus 8, quantity raised to 2. 8 minus 8 is 0. 10 minus 3 is 7. Square, 49. And square root of 49 is just 7. So we now have our b. Okay? To find for the value of a, So since we have the focus to center is just C, right? And a square, take note from our properties, a square is just equal to b square plus c square. So meron na tayong b, si c muna yung hahanapin natin. Okay? C is just the distance from the center to the focus. So we have, suppose this is x sub 2, y sub 2. This is x sub 1, still x sub 1, y sub 1. So we have the square root of, okay, 3 minus 3, quantity raised to 2, right? Plus, we have 12 minus 8, quantity raised to 2. And this is equal to, 3 minus 3 is 0. 12 minus 8 is 4. Um, Square, that is 16. Square root of 16 is just 4. So we now have the values of b and c. So we can now solve for a square. So a square is just equal to b square. So that is 7 square plus c square is 4 square. And this is just equal to 49 plus 16. So we have 65. So our a square is equal to 65. Thus, the standard equation now will be x minus h. H is 3, so we have x minus 3 quantity square all over b square. So 7 square is 49 plus y minus k is 8. So y minus 8 quantity raised to 2 all over a square is 65 equal to 1. This is our final answer. Okay, so we now have the standard equation of this ellipse. For the last problem, we have here one focus, -6, -2, one co-vertex, -1, 5, and a horizontal major axis. Now, since dito, ang major axis natin ay horizontal, so we can easily identify right away the orientation of our ellipse, and that is also horizontal, right? So we have here the orientation, okay, is horizontal. Okay. Since horizontal ang ellipse natin, the form of the standard equation will be x minus h, quantity raised to 2 all over a square plus y minus k, quantity raised to 2 all over b square equal to 1. So we need the values of h, k, a, and b. Right? Now, para malaman natin ang values ng hk or yung center, we will first plot the points on the Cartesian plane. Itong focus na -6, -2 at itong co-vertex na -1, 5 para we can easily identify through the graph, okay, yung coordinates ng center. Okay, suppose this is our Cartesian plane. The focus is -6, -2. It is located here. This is our focus, -6, -2. Okay? And the co-vertex is -1, 5, so it is located here. So co-vertex is -1, 5. Okay? So from that, since the major axis is horizontal, so therefore yung center, yung foci, at yung vertices are aligned horizontally. So the alignment now is horizontal. So ito yung major axis natin, somewhere here. Okay? And the alignment naman ng center and ng co-vertices are vertical. So in that case, we have this alignment. So from that, we can now say that the center is located here. And what is the coordinates of this point? So the center now has the coordinates -1 and -2. So our center is just equal to -1, -2. So we have now our H and K. Okay. Now, to find the value of B, since we have one co-vertex here, we will just use the distance formula, right? So we can have this one as x sub 2, y sub 2, x sub 1, y sub 1. So from that, B now is just equal to the square root of, okay, x sub 2 -1 minus x sub 1 is -1 also, quantity raised to 2. And we have 5 minus -2, quantity raised to 2. And this will become -1 minus -1, that is 0. 5 minus -2 is 7. Quantity square is 49. Square root of 49 is 7. So we now have our B. Now, for the value of C naman, kasi meron tayong focus dito, so we can just solve for the value of C by distance formula again. So suppose this is our x sub 2, y sub 2. Still, x sub 1, y sub 1 yung center. So C now is just equal to the square root of x sub 1. X sub 2 is -6 minus x sub 1 is -1. Quantity raised to 2 plus y sub 2 is -2 minus y sub 1 is also -2. Quantity raised to 2. So we have -2 minus -2. This is 0. -6 minus -1. That is -5. Quantity raised to 2, 25. Square root of 25 is 5. So we have C equal to 5. So from that, we can now solve for the value of A. A square is just equal to B square plus C square, right? So B square is just 7 square plus C square is 5 square, and that is equal to 49 plus 25, and this is equal to 74. So A square is just equal to 74. Thus, the standard equation will be x minus h, so minus -1, that will be x plus 1, quantity raised to 2, all over a square is 74 plus y minus -2, so that will be y plus 2, quantity raised to 2, all over b square. 7 square is 49, equal to 1. And this will be our final answer. So, we have answered now the 4 problems. Okay, so I hope meron tayong natutunan ngayon. Thank you for watching.